Looks like we have all members of the commission present, so I guess we should get started. I'll call this meeting, February 17th, 2026 meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission to order. First order of business will be a roll call. Jennifer,
Present.
Ellen,
Present, just setting up still.
and I'm present, so all three members are here. We have meeting minutes to approve from December 16th, January 6th, and January 7th. Are there any further recommendations, requests for changes? Okay. I think we need a motion to approve all three sets of minutes unless you want to split out some piece of them.
I just want to clarify that we're approving the amended versions.
The
I think
updated.
all three
Yes.
have been amended. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes for January 6th, January 7th, and December 16th.
Okay, thank you. Owner?
I second.
Thanks. And all in favor? Jennifer?
Yes.
Eleanor?
Yes.
And I vote in favor. So those three sets of minutes are approved. Thanks. Our next item up is 72 Payon Boulevard, Brandon Needleman. I think I saw Brandon join us, so. Yeah,
Good evening, everyone.
I'll let you speak to this, Brandon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Paul. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Brandon Needleman. I reside over at 72 Payon Boulevard with my wife and my two little boys. We love Wakefield. We love everything about Wakefield. My wife is actually born and raised here. We're deeply embedded in the community. We love our neighborhood. We love our Dolbear School District, and we are looking to get approval to expand our home by approximately 380 square feet. For those of you that know the Payon Boulevard area, it abuts wetlands behind my property. So I did put together an application along with a lot of supporting documents that I'm happy to share. That show exactly where the wetlands are marked behind my property, which also will then show where the 25-foot buffer zone is, including the 50-foot buffer zone, which is also titled the no build zone, and where the 100-foot buffer line is to just provide a little bit of context. So if you just bear with me, I'm happy to share my screen.
Please do that.
Right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'm happy to zoom in if needed. So right here, I wrote a little letter. This is obviously to the Conservation Commission explaining exactly of everything that I'm looking on doing to my property. Before I get further into the details of my plans, we wanted to make sure that we ran everything by the Conservation Commission to make sure everyone was on board. I've known that there are wetlands behind my property ever since we purchased this home 10 plus years ago. So I went out and I met with Ethan Fleming from the Conservation Commission. He walked me through all the documents that I need to make sure that I can properly present. He mentioned that I'll need a floor plan, which luckily my architect was able to give us what I refer to as a test fit in my industry. I was able to provide a document that shows where my house is on the property line, along with where the wetlands are. And then I was able to actually hire an environmental survey group to come out and mark the said wetlands. and give the proper dimensions of where they are. So let me just dive in here. Um, on this page here, you can see this is a picture behind my property right now, which shows the wetlands. This report was done by my environmental survey company uh, in back in January. So they went through this entire property as well as through the Wetland Protections Act, and they were able to pull together a nice report, which I have provided in my application. Um, I'll scroll through and be happy to kind of hone in on any specific documentation if you want. Again, all of this has been provided with the application itself. You can see my property is actually kind of highlighted here in red. You can see the wetlands directly behind the property. We scroll through some more pictures, drain line back there. There's a little bit of water back there. A lot of this is very overgrown. It's probably a little tough to tell. But images, here's a really cool swing set that my kids play on. This is the tracking device that the environmental group used um, when marking the wetlands behind my property. Here's a delineation sketch that they provided.
So the dashed line is the wetland boundary line as they
Yeah, yeah. Well, those are just the markers that show
where the
um,
flags are.
where the flags are. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
yeah, and then I had my team actually mark these on the drawing of my property, which you can show here. Here is my actual property, 72 Payon Boulevard. Here's my proposed addition, which is 380 square feet plus or minus, which is going to be just a one floor addition, extending into the back of my property. On this plan, you can see the wetlands here in purple. And these are the flags that are marked on the same environmental report. Wetland flag A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they had these TOBA, TOBB locations that were also marked as well.
Are
This
those out sort of an outlier area or
that area, I'll go up to her report. Non-jurisdictional stormwater conveyance. So
okay?
there's a
There's a
stormwater
drain
line.
there.
There's a drain right here that's marked on this plan, Paul.
Okay. Yep.
So that runs along the side of my property.
And that runs from Payon Boulevard into the
Co-
wetland, I presume.
Correct. There's a storm drain right up here.
Hmm.
I can almost here, I can kind of call it out right there. I love this tool. So there's a storm drain that's on Payon Boulevard that runs underneath my property into said wetlands.
And then it outlets somewhere in the range of those TOBA.
Correct. Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
okay. Just help
Um,
understand what those
no,
signals. And
yeah,
you've got both the 25 and the 50-foot buffer
yep.
area.
Yeah, so the 25 is in green. And I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm having a tough time zooming in. The 25 line is in green. The 50 foot, which is obviously delineated here in red. Anything be inside the 50 foot, I understand is a no build zone. But I am well outside of that 50-foot area.
Mhm.
And then I am just inside for call it three-quarters of my property or three-quarters of my home inside the 100-foot buffer. So in between the 100 and the 50.
And the yellow line on that plan?
I'd have to talk to my
Oh,
engineer
okay.
there.
It's nothing that we need to pay any attention to.
No, no.
Okay, great.
So this is the plan of just the overall site, just to kind of delineate exactly where wetlands are. We scroll through. This is a proposed plan of what I look to do inside my home. This is not final by any means. This is what I like to call a test fit, like I said. just to kind of see where the program of my home would kind of shift. Right now, we would be expanding our kitchen, expanding our living room, and then adding on a 3/4 bath to my bedroom, as well as a walk-in closet for my wife. Um, all of that is delineated here outside this dotted line north. Anything inside the dotted line is the current perimeter of my home. Um, to make sure that we don't disrupt any soil and also to be um, respectful to budget, I don't plan on doing this with a full foundation. In fact, I plan on doing this with one of two methods, which is either going to be a concrete pile system or a helical pile system. Both of those are going to be considered, and both of those would require minimal excavation to not only less disturb the property itself, but also to increase speed because I want to do this sooner rather than later. Since I haven't determined whether I'll go with either direction, I've also provided architectural sections of what each of those methods are. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with architectural sections, but I've got both lined out here. The left is a traditional concrete pile, um, which try to think of this as almost like an addition on stilts, where the ground is actually relatively intact. We would excavate at the pile locations, go about 4 feet into the ground and put a small footing in, which is below the frost line in Wakefield, and then build on top of that. And we'll have a crawl space underneath, and everything will be skirted around the property. Helical pile is something very similar. It's actually even less invasive to the ground, and this is actually done with a machine. So it's far less excavating, and it's far quicker, but it's significantly more expensive. So um, if I were to get an approval to move forward, we're going to start furthering design. And then from there, when we apply for our building permit, we'll have a solution in hand. So those are all the documents I have this evening. I'm happy to field any questions specific to my property or specific to the wetlands to the best of my abilities, and really would love the thumb up to keep moving along here.
So I think that the plans you've provided give us a pretty clear picture of where you are in relation to the wetlands adjacent to your property. I don't have anything additional. I'll ask my colleagues if they do.
Yeah, could you just go back to the plan for a second?
The floor plan or the site
Or
plan?
sorry, the site plan for 1 second. Okay, so the adjacent property is 0 Foster's Lane. Is that where, but the property behind you, it's,
This right here?
yes, that's town land?
Yes, that's town land.
Okay,
That's not my property. In fact, that's actually where the rail trail, like way back, is was proposed to go underneath 95.
okay. And do you have a fence along the back of your property?
I have a fence that was provided probably not by the previous owner, but I think by the owner prior to that. I need to get rid of that fence. It's actually A, it's an eyesore, and then B, it's actually like sharp on the top of it, and it's got to come down. So
Okay. Um, and then Ethan, did you determine whether had been prior notices of intent filed with the property?
I believe there was a prior notice of intent, but nothing that brought up any new information here.
Ethan, do
Okay,
you know when that was filed? Out of curiosity.
Not off the top of my head. No, it would have been when the house was built.
Gotcha.
can
I
we?
know
Mhm.
this. Sorry to interrupt. I know this section of my home here. This was an addition that was done before we moved in. I mean, it must be, I don't know, 20 something years old. And I don't have any documentation of this right here, so I was wondering if it was done then.
I think
Ethan, do you? Oh, go on.
I think that predates all of us on the commission, so.
Yeah. Um, Ethan, can you just check if there was an order of conditions with the property?
Sure. What sort of questions do you have regarding that?
Well, I want to know if the property has they're next to a wetland. It's town property. It's an old property. So I have no issues with this project. Um, but we want to look at what conditions are already on the property, I think, because if any, because if there's nothing, then um, we probably want to do a notice of intent or an abbreviated notice of intent, something where we can ensure their conditions placed with the property.
Sure. I don't recall seeing any conditions beyond the standard ones. Um, but what sort of condition would you be looking at to
Oh,
add?
you can pull up and add the screen. I'd just like to see what's there.
What screen are you looking for?
Oh, sorry, the notice of intent.
I wouldn't
Sorry,
have
not
that on
notice
me
of intent,
today.
order of conditions. I apologize, Ethan.
I wouldn't have that on me today. I'd have to look at it tomorrow.
And if you
But
can
as
maybe
far as
just bring this out to layman's terms, like
Yeah.
what exactly does that mean?
So the order of conditions um, gets filed with your property, once you have a project that goes through. And then that way, there are things like new homeowners who move in, they're aware of, there's a record of the plan. They don't go and do something, that they're not supposed to do on the basis of incomplete information. Um, but I think this is straightforward, so it's something for the commission to think about. Um, and then I guess my only other comment is on the 10-foot drain easement. You checked that with engineering, like the town engineer?
Yeah, and
Okay,
actually, that a lot of that information came directly from the town document website, which I'm happy
excellent.
to share all of that. I mean, you guys actually have a lot of good records here. So we were able to compile a lot of that information.
Yeah, I'll look at the existing order and I'll let you know, Brandon, if there's anything that jumps out to me there that you need to know.
Okay. Would any of that like affect me moving forward? I guess I just don't know what that does.
No, so that would have just been like the permit for the addition or the permit for the house. Sometimes there are certain conditions that you have to follow, like stay 25 feet from the wetlands, don't use salt on the driveway. Sometimes there's some conditions. I don't think there's any here. Um, it's not too common though.
Yeah,
There are
well,
just things
and
you have to follow.
given that that even with the addition, any development on this property is 75 feet off the wetland, pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think there's anything there that would still be relevant today, but I'll just double check that tomorrow.
So Ethan, do you keep track of, does the commission have records of the RDAs that are filed, just in case a new homeowner?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, my only question about this was also about that drainage easement. And when you spoke with engineering, if that, assuming that's Bill Renault, did he have any guidance on maintaining a certain distance from that? Because I think he's
We
stipulated
we
that in the
didn't
past.
we didn't talk with engineering. We just got all of the documents from the town website that called out where that was.
Hmm. Okay. My impression was, for the commission that Bill was gonna kind of take a look at projects that come our way. I mean, this isn't an NOI, but might be good to have Bill say, that's fine. I mean, it looks like the work is 5 or 6 feet from the easement. Um, but, just to have him say that's fine. And the discharge, does that come out of a pipe? Does that discharge from a pipe at the back of the property?
Actually, yeah, here I'll scroll up into one of the images. I mean, it's like all overgrown. Um, I mean, in here, this is
Mm-hmm.
where that drainage is. And this is
Mm-hmm.
like, obviously, this was here well before my time, but it's like all completely overgrown and filled with
Mm-hmm.
leaves. But yeah, it comes out down here.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the plans that is going to interfere with that.
No, yeah, I'm not touching anything. In fact, like I'm not touching anything with my yard
Mm-hmm.
at all. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
don't plan on touching anything in my yard. My kids love my yard. They would kill me if I excavated it. And that's why the intent is to not excavate and put a foundation here.
Mm-hmm.
A, I don't need more basement space. B, I don't want to spend the money for it. And then C, I mean, why disrupt uh, um, the ground if I don't need to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so those are my only questions about this plan.
Okay, so I guess the question is, this is not a notice of intent at this
Right.
point. It's strictly question, does Brandon need to present us with a notice of intent that we would act on and impose conditions? Eleanor, you sounded like you were looking to put some additional conditions here.
Well, I think we have, we've seen from time to time over history that when we have this project is very straightforward, and if there was a record of a notice of intent, and a project that's approved, it gets filed with the deed, right? And so then that follows the title and the chain of control and so for example, if you are going to stay in your home, you know, for the rest of your life, that's great. But if something changes, you get a new job and you move, you sell your home, the new homeowner's not going to know, the real estate agent won't know that they're within, most people moving in don't know what they're next to. And they could start
Well,
trying to, yeah. So it's if there's no
can
record,
I
that
kind
would
of
be the
flip
only
that
reason.
around a little bit, Eleanor?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not for nothing else, I've been here for 10 years. I had to do all this information on my own. None of
Hmm.
this was provided by the previous seller. So why do I have to go through a whole process to provide it to someone that I'm never going to sell it to? Or if I do sell it to, they should be responsible for finding out all that information. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Buyer beware, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, look, if this needs to get filed, by all means, I've done all the legwork on anyone that would come and buy the property. I'm not that we're selling the property, hence why we want to put on an addition here. But none of this information was given to me by anyone. I had to go put this together myself and pay money for it.
So I think for the commission, it's two issues. The project in itself is very straightforward, um, but there's no history. Certainly, this risk is fine, and So, maybe that's something we look at more broadly, Ethan, about RDA policies. And so we just have a standard approach for each of these, somewhat standard. But no, what you've done, Brandon, is super comprehensive. Um, quite honestly, it's better than, I think most. And you're certainly saving a lot of money at the same time by taking this on yourself. Um, so I'm okay. I'm okay with it if the other commissioners are fine with it.
So do we treat this as what you suggested, Eleanor, an RDA, and make a determination that it's not applicable?
Well, Ethan, you could pull up the form. I mean,
Uh,
you can put in um, so that this is the thing, Ethan, you can't do an RDA associated with a property.
no, because the RDA is not a permit itself. It's determining that the work does not need a permit. So it's usually
Right,
just look at what's proposed and just
right.
based off of the information there.
Mm-hmm.
hmm So it works for the current homeowner, but it could be issues to a subsequent homeowner down the road. Now, again, the risk is remote here. Maybe that's something we're comfortable with. Um, but there's no way for any prospective buyer to look at this and, you know, look up a DEP file number, look up, it won't be on the deed. They would have to know to contact the Conservation Commission office, and I just haven't been a volunteer long enough, or, we don't have access to those records, so it's hard for me to make, as a new volunteer, make a determination about how comprehensive our record keeping is, such that, we would be able to provide this information easily. So that's it. And again, Brandon, this project is super low risk. Um,
Honestly, like just from my perspective, like this is yeah, it's not going to affect any of the wetlands. And I'm doing my best goal to not disturb any nature around my property. Um, to make sure the wetlands stay intact. And the only reason I know that there's wetlands back there is because of obviously the water I see when I'm playing around in those woods with my kids. So I didn't even think that I had to go through conservation, and then I started doing reading on it.
mhm.
And I was like, well, I have a feeling I'm in that area, so I thought this was the natural next step. I mean, in all honesty, I was going to go through with a full set of plans and go in for permit, and I figured I'd probably end up getting flagged due to my adjacency here.
Mm,
And I'm not going through with full drawings or even continuing with full drawings until I have an approval that I can build on the property. So all of like financing, drawings, selecting contractors and materials and so forth, all hinges on getting the thumbs up to do this work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
okay.
think that's the right decision because the work is, I think, within 100 feet of the
hmm
probably a bordering vegetated wetland. So it is, I think, the right thing to do to ask the commission about it.
hmm
Um, okay. I mean, I'm also fine with, approving this as a not applicable, but Ethan, could you run this past, Bill? I think it's fine because I think in the past, I think they're probably more concerned about like sewers and stuff than drainage easements, but just to get Bill's you know.
I'll
Okay
run it
on
by
it.
him. Usually the easement is there to protect the drainage, so as long as you're outside the easement, it'll be good.
Yeah,
I'll see if he has any concerns.
okay.
Okay. Sorry, just last question, Ethan. So so their meeting materials are posted for this or no, because it's an RDA?
I believe they were posted, yes.
Can you confirm?
Sure, I'll take a look.
And then, so that's the only thing is then abutters aren't notified. But if you're going for permitting, Brandon, they would know and they would have the building permit, so you're good there. So
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just thinking this through. Um,
I thought abutters were going to get notified, didn't I? I paid a check for like $270. Wasn't that to notify? It was through the Daily
That was
Item.
for the legal notice in the paper.
Oh, I thought you notify abutters with that money as well.
That's a separate one. With the RDAs, it doesn't need to notify abutters. That was just for the
Oh,
legal
okay.
notice.
Oh, I thought that fee covered it. Okay.
okay. No, he's going through the building inspector. If
Mhm.
there are issues, the building inspector. Sorry, we just have to talk this out because we can't
Yeah.
talk out of, we
I
can
I
only
work in
convene.
the commercial real estate and construction world, so like we get it. Like I'm gonna get a full set of construction documents. I'm gonna file for a permit. We're gonna have a variety of inspections happen, whether it's plumbing, electrical, you name it, building inspections. We're gonna do this the right way. So
Okay, you're living and okay. Um, so I think just that's helpful too. So I'm good with it. Um, Ethan, I think there's a place where we can put on a condition or something that just says, keep all um, any stored building materials or something, keep out of the 50 foot or some.
yeah.
Would that be amenable to you, Brandon?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I haven't gotten that far, but it's gonna likely be on the driveway.
Okay.
Um, But yeah, and I'm also planning on doing like those hay bales around the perimeter of the property just in case it does rain, runoff, all that stuff. So
Okay. All right.
Yep. And I do see this posted to answer your question, Eleanor.
Okay.
So I think we need a motion to
I'll,
determine that there's no applicability here for additional
I'm,
consideration, right?
I'll make a motion to make a negative determination of applicability.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Thanks. All in favor, Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I'm in favor. Brandon, I think you have our approval authorization. Essentially, we've determined that you don't need any further approvals from us. Thank you for
thank you
the
all.
comprehensive
Thank
piece of
you.
work you did.
I really do appreciate it. All of you guys, thank you so much. Ethan, thank you so much for working me through all the documents that I need. I do appreciate that. Will I get some kind of like follow-up email or letter or what are the next steps for me? Do I just take this and run with it or
I'll send you the official permit in the coming days.
okay. Thank you, Ethan.
Yep.
All right, folks. Thank you all so much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
You too. Good night.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is 30 Strathmore Road enforcement order discussion.
Hey folks, this is Bobby Leo from 30 Strathmore with my wife Alyssa as well. She's on a different video though.
I see both of you. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Ethan, do you want to provide some background and then we step through this?
Sure. So I issued an enforcement order on January 9th for tree removal without getting the prior approval for trees in the buffer zone to the wetland resource. I went to the property and talked with the property owners here and, and ask them to come to this meeting. So what we're here today to do is quantify how many trees were removed and then determine what the commission would like to see as far as replacement.
Your situation is somewhat challenging because your property abuts a stream and a wetland at the back. That part of it is part of the wetland is on your lands, and obviously it's a stream that starts, I think, over near Prospect and runs sort of through all those your neighborhood, ultimately lands in a I think in a town drain that takes the water flow off. But where you are is still a stream, and we're charged with protecting stream banks and wetlands, and that includes trees in the buffer areas out to 100 feet from the streams and the wetlands. And so that's why we're involved with your activities. You did, how many, do you have a sense of how many trees you had removed?
4 trees.
4 trees, okay.
2 are in the back, 2 are in the front.
Okay.
The ones in the back, the arborist measured, they were 129 feet from the, or I believe like 120 odd feet from the area of interest. After Ethan, we spoke with Ethan.
The trees were 120 feet off.
120 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Off the wetland boundary. Okay.
Approximately. The arborist was supposed to join us today, but he had something come up with his family. But we can always follow up with him if you need specifics.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to have a bit more certainty on that.
But yeah, we initially we had reached out to a few different arborists. We had pretty consistent tree limbs in our driveway. Eventually got to the backyard where there was even more damage on one in the back. So that's where it started from. Obviously, we weren't aware of any official designation on the property. Otherwise, we would have came to Ethan prior. But we've since been educated, and we're fully planning on replacing trees as well on the property.
So there were 4 that were removed, and I think what our tree removal bylaw policy is a 3 for 1.
I think some of it's 1 for 1, or it could be 3 for 1, depending on what you're planting.
Mm-hmm.
So a few medium bushes versus like 1 small tree, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Now these were large trees.
Yes, they weren't small.
I think I saw some of the stumps when I drove by your house, or chunks of one of the trees in your front yard. They were rather substantial.
Yeah, obviously not something you could do quietly, so we wouldn't have done it without approval if we didn't know.
Right. And, I would think, let's see, I think that for the scale of the trees removed, we'd probably be looking at the the higher number.
Mhm.
If I may ask, is there precedent for that?
Or replacement of trees?
No, asking for the higher number depending on the size of the tree?
It's the distance and the height from the wetland.
Do
Right.
do we have
Essentially,
data?
But may I oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Eleanor. Go ahead.
I was going to say the tricky part here is two things. So on what's unique about your situation is there is no wetland delineation. The last one that was done was in 2007 or 2006 for a project that was denied. The submission the commission sent the submission that the previous owner submitted was for a notice of intent for a subdivision. So subdivide the property into two pieces, and execute a plan that was very, very old. So what starts are, I think what's tricky here is there are a couple of things that have happened. We don't know where the wetland line is. Usually it's a 3-year sort of look back. If you have if you're doing a new project, for example, Bobby and Alyssa, you would need to delineate the wetland before you embark on something. I think what's tricky here is there's no delineation, and there is also substantial vegetation clearing that probably was done by the previous owner to sort of make the house look, more sellable. Like we don't know. But there is, in the Wetlands Protection Act, I don't know if Ethan's kind of given you that background. So I think there's no like punishing here. We're all brand new. So I'll just say that. And there is a sort of a process we follow, that just we have to figure out. So let me just pause there. And yeah, I think the simplest thing is to, like in these situations, we typically have to rely on whatever records that the commission has. And so we've requested those from Ethan because that gives us a sense of, we don't want to spend money we don't have to. Like we don't want homeowners to do that. So I think that's important to know, like sort of what's the worst case and then what's like the best case.
I was mistaken about our bylaw, Eleanor. It requires a 1-for-1 replacement
Hmm.
on trees. And if the Leos want to replace with more trees, it's a 1-for-1. It's a 3-for-1 if you put in shrubbery instead of trees.
Mhm.
Hmm.
For one with shrubs, you said.
We're
Yeah.
fully aware and prepared to do so. We're planning to do so anyways. We're like we said, as Bobby said, it was a safety measure for our house, right? The trees were dead. We sent pictures to Ethan of the inside of them. So we're happy to replace, 4 for 4. That's really a non-issue.
Okay. I think Ethan, you can provide the criteria for that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, especially because two of the trees were on the other side of the house. I think getting to replace those, even if they're far from the wetland, like they said, potentially outside the 100-foot buffer. If we could
Hmm.
just say 4 were cut, plant 4, as long as it fits the policy suggestions, I think that makes sense.
And then given the winter right now, or hopefully near end of winter, do you have a date where you would want us to have that work done by?
The tree bylaw says 6 months, within 6 months of the removal. So that should give you plenty of time to get them put in and give them a pretty good growing season to get established as well.
That should not be a problem at all.
So, sorry, and this is super awkward way to kind of meet. So one question I have is how do we sort of establish the wetland boundaries, right? Because
There is a mapping from the 2007
it's
application. Have you reviewed that one against what you know of the neighborhood?
yeah, I didn't see that the hydric line. Actually, Ethan, maybe you could pull it up.
Sure.
And by we, Eleanor, you mean how does the town establish that, correct?
I'm sorry.
By the we establish it, you mean the town needs to do that, correct? It's not incumbent upon the homeowners to establish the wetland boundary, correct? It is up to us as the commission in the town to do so?
No, typically the homeowner has to hire their own consultant to delineate a wetland. And under an enforcement mechanism, we have a little more latitude, I believe, because it does not get filed with the DEP. I mean, how can I say this? We're able to work with you more than if you walk away and then say, oh, actually, now we want to do this next thing. You have no idea where the wetland boundary is. So you can at least, because no matter what, the next thing you do, like you're going to have to have it delineated because it's been altered. Did Ethan read through share the report with you that talks about the denial of the order of conditions?
I described it to them a bit. Yeah. It's just in this case, whether I don't think we're looking at the exact boundary of the wetlands. It's not too relevant to what we're talking about. So to Dee's question, usually it would be on the homeowner to get a delineation survey done, but that's only when you're applying for a permit or something that's necessary to do.
Right.
So here we're kind of, like we said, 4 trees for 4 trees. It's kind of regardless of where the wetland stands exactly.
So the issue about removing vegetation,
Wait, can we go back to the original question? So what do the Leos need to do to establish the boundary? That's the question that hasn't been answered.
we need to do a site walk, right? So we can see where the wetland is because there's confusion. On this map, for instance, if you go down, Ethan, like where's the stream?
I think you need to move through the rest of the pages of this filing, Ethan.
Yeah.
I believe there are more pages to it, aren't there? Or are there?
This was just the plan we had from the record.
Okay.
You see the wetland was identified in this little ditch area on the side of the yard.
So it's actually along the edge, along the paper street,
Yes.
which is why the
And
fence
then
is falling down. But then the stream runs along the back of the property as well, doesn't it?
no, it just runs along left to right that you see here. What
Okay.
Eleanor was talking about is you see on this plan they mention a hydric soil line where at the time there was a lot of question of how far the wetland expanded. So if you wanted to identify the exact extent of the wetland, you'd have to do a survey. It just depends if it's relevant or not to what we're talking about here.
So the hydric soil line extends considerably out from where the boundary of wetland was identified previously.
Yes.
Yes, it was never confirmed, but that was where it was found based on the discussions back in 2006.
Pull up I think it would be helpful for them and D to see the denial letter.
Sure.
Because that was, in reading it, that was the negotiated one.
Yep. Based on our tree policy is what I'm looking at. Usually, whether you're in the wetland or in the buffer, it tends to be the same replacement. So that's why I say you might not need to know the exact boundary. And that would be more of a lengthy process and more costly if you wanted to go that route.
Yeah,
Well,
for
what
all
I'm
for
Oh, I'm sorry, Bobby, if I could just jump in. So what I'm hearing is if it's a 1-for-1 and they cut down 4 trees, then they're replacing 4 trees?
Yes.
Under our
Thank
current policy, yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so this order was based on the fact that I don't know if you bought it from the folks who actually made this filing or if there was an intermediate owner, but in any case, the Wickstrom, I guess, was the name of the owners at the time, were seeking to add a second house on the property with a driveway coming off of the paper street. It's along the edge of your property. And there's as it has been mentioned, there was a wetland identified, and it's roughly adjacent to the stream, and nothing else on your property. So essentially, it's that southern end of your property that's abutting the wetland. That's the area you need to be careful about.
Can you? Mm,
Go ahead.
So I think some of the things are missing. I sent I was hoping it would be forwarded to you guys. The daily item articles for 2007. But there, you know, there is a natural depression there. There's storm water, yep, catch basin. Abutters had been impacted by like flooding and contamination, which I think the town has addressed, but that was my, the first call was to Bill Renault. So it's a little more involved. And so, certainly you should have all of that information so you can plan accordingly. Ethan, in sort of reading the enforcement manual, the outcome is a restoration plan. So we certainly have latitude with that.
Yeah.
There is just in my opinion, a lot more flexibility. You also have knotweed on the property, so there are things we want to see because it's an opportunity to make you aware of things that could be potential issues down the road. There are things that fall under the Wetlands Protection Act and we can, regulate here. There's also kind of practical homeowner issues that, we've all experienced. And things to things to think about. With the enforcement approach, we can phase it, we can amend it. again, but it's simple. And from my perspective, a 6 month, plant this tree in 6 months isn't gonna match the overall goal. You don't want to plant something and then be like, oops, I gotta remove it. So it just gives us and you an opportunity to work together and be a little more holistic. Again, this is a complicated property. This is certainly people reached out to me with concerns, and myself being a newer member coming to being the neighborhood, I just think it's important to get all the information. Um, you as homeowners. Um, again, there's nothing. It depends how we have some latitude to write this, and we can amend it as we meet deadlines. But I think the first thing is to see sort of what we're working with.
Well, given that there's snow on the ground now, we may want to wait a bit before we actually do a site walk then to
Yeah,
make some decisions.
I think it would be
May
good
I,
to,
Recommendation.
may I just jump in? So wasn't the onus on the Conservation Commission back in 2007 to redraw the map to make it clear that this was a wetland? And so these people buy this house without a clear delineation. And I would think that we give them grace because they did this not even knowing that there were wetlands and all of this was on their property. So I'm kind of grappling with what do we own as the town for responsibility in this issue?
it is incumbent on the property owner to present a delineation to the commission, then we review it and approve it. So
If the commission knew in 2007, why wasn't the map revised? Easy question.
I don't think the town does the mapping. I think that's a DEP action to map
So-
resource areas.
I'll have to research that. Thank you.
okay. So for reference, and I've had to check with some other towns on this. The DEP, so I think there's a little bit of confusion. There's perhaps, two issues, what's associated with your property and what the commission can view. One of the drawbacks with we use a system, or agents use a system called Mass Mapper, for example. It's GIS information system, and you can access it yourself too. It's all public, but it only maps wetlands greater than a quarter acre. So that means the only way a person would know that they had a wetland in your situation is if the homeowner filed their order of condition. Like they have to get the wetland delineated when they want to do a project, and then sorry, I have to close the door. Give me 1 second. Sorry, that's better. So then, just to kind of like pretend you're brand new, nothing, you find out you want to do a project, you come to us, you present a notice of intent, you have all these plans drawn up, examples, they get reviewed. It then the commission reviews it and would either approve and issue an order of conditions. And then once you've completed your project, the project gets a certificate of compliance. So those small wetlands will never appear on a map, and that's why it's important for people to contact the Conservation Commission. And you can see, in the previous example, if you were listening to that hearing, that was pretty helpful. It's only this situation that's made me aware of how important it is to ensure the commission has good record keeping of these things that get passed. Now, in this situation, the project was denied. So the homeowner had to, the commission basically could not agree to the term, like between the homeowner and the commission. They would not. The commission determined they could not issue an order of conditions, that the project could not go forward because it was more extensive and they couldn't come to an agreement. So with that denial, and I've just learned this, that denial was supposed to be filed with the Registry of Deeds. And so that didn't happen. We don't know why. So here's the situation. You're in this very unusual predicament. We can look we can pretend this didn't, let's just say,
well, obviously we're not pretending that it didn't happen.
No. But
Mr.
the
Chair,
question,
how is this germane to the conversation? And what
I
know,
Sorry, Dee, go ahead.
I think it was incumbent upon the town to notify the DEP of these findings, not on the homeowner. So I vehemently disagree on that point.
I'm not sure how to. Ethan, do you want to address the process?
In this case, it was a little unique with the permit at the time being denied, but while it would be great to get a wetland delineation at some point, that might be better suited to if and when down the line we had a project come forward involving some sort of construction. I think in this case,
Ethan,
yep.
I think you and I will work with Tom Mullen on this one. Thank you.
Yep. I think in this case, when we're with just looking at the trees, we're counting the trees that were cut, seeing what they want to replace. I think talking about the delineation might be something for another time.
Okay.
I would be inclined to agree. It's not something that has a lot of impact on how the Leos are going to be making use of their property for the moment. I think you are unfortunately well aware of where that wet area is on the southern edge of your property now. So I guess, the next steps for us would probably be a site walk when the snow's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it sounds like you guys are in agreement that you're willing to plant trees to replace the 4 that were taken down. And I'm not sure there's a lot else for us to do at this point. Unless my colleagues have something more or Ethan has something more to add.
We'll gladly work with Ethan, like before we actually start planning, make sure that the 4 trees are suitable.
Right, and he can provide you with a copy of our tree policy. It's
he has. We have a copy of it. So
okay.
Thank you.
And after having a meeting with the Leos, they are more than accommodating to do whatever it is to right the wrong that they didn't know was wrong.
So I have a question. When I contacted Ethan, he said he had pulled the filing. He had pulled the filing recently, and the Ryan had indicated that he had it and was aware of the proximity to the wetland. I don't know if that was shared, but it really doesn't matter.
I don't think I had spoke to Ryan before this. I'm not familiar with that happening.
Okay. And then I guess my only other concern, so we have the caterpillar.
What is that in
That's
reference to?
well, that was the work, that was the reason was the unauthorized work in the wetland. I think it's helpful. The issues that were identified were equipment, and Aaron was copied on that. The equipment, the wetlands, like the vegetation, and the as well as the tree removal. So I think it's a little bit,
I'm struggling to see how this is germane to the trees that we're talking about, though.
because it wasn't just trees that were removed, Dee. What's probably more important in the context of the Conservation Commission, which is an independent board, Bobby, Alyssa, we are appointed by town councilors to sort of make a determination of things, and we have to weigh things objectively. And this means Ethan supports you. He also supports us. But
And he
ultimately,
reports
the
to me.
commission has to make the determination. Again, I think, Paul, we have the ability
Your
to,
concern, Eleanor, from what I'm hearing, is the vegetation that was removed along the stream and the drain
correct,
on the south side of the property. Is that what I'm, because I,
correct,
all right,
correct.
I hear you there.
But the
And
We
the
just
trees,
had
the
tree.
trees
All
in
we had was trees taken down.
the trees in the backyard were not they were not along the edge of the stream though. They were on the complete other side of the yard. So that's what's a bit confusing. And prior
Well,
to us, I don't know if you guys are, lived around in this town for a long time, but prior to us purchasing the house, there was trees surrounding the whole front yard, and those were all removed prior to us buying the house. And I'm not sure why those were not, there was no permissions sought to take
right.
those down. There was no enforcement order. There was, none of the above. So when you walk our yard, you see stumps wherever you go from the previous owners. We took down 4 trees. That's what the enforcement order was for. We're here to replace them. We understand, it's just, that's what we're here. We're, like Dee said, like we said, we're happy to move forward. But there was plenty of vegetation and stuff taken down prior to us owning the house. So I'm not sure why the onus is now on us for that being done.
Well, I can tell you just sorry, and it's not to be argumentative. This is sort of an education point. I've only been involved in 3 enforcement order, like handed. Unfortunately, the subsequent homeowner inherits whatever is done. And again, it's not about punishing, it's coming up with the right solution that's for the benefit of long term. Um, a good example is Butler Avenue. That was an enforcement related thing, and the town is paying a ton of money to have that restored. And essentially the town was required to repurchase land that had been filled because an employee of the town decided they wanted to use ruins from the Atwell School to elevate their yard. So it does go forward. I
But
think,
again, we haven't,
yeah.
and you've mentioned that to me before. We haven't filled in any land
No.
in the yard. We cut down trees.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this conversation's taken quite a different route
So,
since we initially joined on.
can you, Ethan, pull up the Google Earth? Sorry, actually Google Maps. That's a good one. Google Street Maps.
Google Street Map, sure.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this? Just for the sake
Just
of time?
just to kind of give you a sense of like before you moved in, like the
Eleanor, was this
the
the
property.
conversation? Was this the conversation that you had with Bobby in his front yard?
D, I'm sorry. Can we just get through this for a second?
No, we can't. You and I had a conversation,
Ye-
and you're not honoring it right now.
So, Paul, Jennifer, it's up to you how you guys want to proceed.
I'd like to conclude with seeing that the mapping that you were asking for. I'm not sure where you were going with it, but I mean, at this point,
I don't think it's necessary at this point.
So Paul, do I understand right that you were saying that you were interested in a delineation?
are you asking if I was
Right,
suggesting?
I'm asking,
No,
yeah.
I mean, other than the replacement of trees, I'm not sure where we go with all of this. I mean, to be honest, the Leos removed some rather substantial trees, but not with any knowledge that they had a wetland on their property. Although there is a stream there of, sort of minor import, but
Yeah, I mean, I think my thought is that I'm glad that the Leos are, planning to replace the trees that were removed, with kind of full trees. And I do think streams, it is important to come to the commission and to a point that Eleanor made, the expectation that we communicate to the public is that they not rely on maps, available online maps, because they're often not accurate for many different reasons. So we do always ask people to contact the commission when there's wet
doing
area.
anything
Yeah,
in the area of water bodies
exactly.
or
Yeah.
wetlands. Yep.
Right. And just kind of in a general sense, I mean, streams are important because when they're, for example, disrupted or, filled in, it can cause problems for other people. So that is important. But, I am, satisfied that the Leos are going to replace those trees. And I think if they were planning to do further work, it would require contacting the commission and might require an NOI, a notice of intent, which would involve a delineation, and the homeowners are responsible for that.
But only if they're doing additional,
Yeah, if there's more work planned.
right. At the moment, yard maintenance does not count.
Yeah. And that's all we're really planning to do once all this snow melts.
Right.
Yes, there's an existing yard exemption.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. With a look back of it's 3 to 5 years.
In addition to the fact that if you have knotweed, you probably want to try to eradicate that.
I think that's what's left.
Seems to be infesting a lot of stream and wet areas in the town now. But other than that, I don't have anything further tonight. Ethan, how do we proceed with this enforcement?
Sure. So I would suggest maybe once the snow melts, I can meet with the homeowners, or Paul and I can meet with you guys,
Yeah,
and
maybe yeah, okay. You and I do a site visit after the snow melts so we can actually take a look at the site.
sure, we
And
could take a look at the site, and then we'll give you an exact, I guess, we'll agree on what trees you want to plant. I'd be happy to help you identify some trees that would work. Just make sure it's a one-for-one replacement. And then that should be about it. I'll follow up with you after the trees are planted, but I think next steps, setting up a site visit in the next couple months.
probably late March at best,
Sure.
given where the snow is now.
And
That
I would
work?
strongly recommend that that be a Chair and Ethan site visit only.
That's fine, Dee. I've never been in a position where I know uh, all four parties involved or representing. So it's a no-win situation for me. So that's fine.
Thank you, Eleanor. I appreciate that.
And
Okay,
then
so
we did
Ethan
have,
will reach out to us when
Yeah,
you guys will do the
Yep.
visit, and we'll go from there.
sounds like it.
Yep.
I think that's our next steps. Okay, thanks for your time
Thank you
tonight.
both.
Thank you all.
Good night.
We did have the enforcement order itself, as far as if you wanted to ratify that, or if we just want to let it be withdrawn, given that we've reached an agreement.
I'm inclined towards the latter unless there's a reason we should take steps.
No, I think that sounds like the best option. We just withdraw it, and then I'll just document the tree replacement once we do it.
I think that makes more sense.
So the process is to ratify, the order.
Yeah, you can ratify it or withdraw it. So if you elected not to ratify it, then the default would be it being withdrawn. So if that's the case, it wouldn't need to come to a vote.
Okay, well, the question is, if we withdraw it, do we have any further authority? I mean, at this point, we've agreed to proceed. I think we would want to ratify the order as that it exists.
Yeah, you would still have the same authority. Usually with the enforcement orders, you would want some sort of unofficial discussion first. So if they, for some reason, opted to cut more trees or not plant them, then you would still have the record of it happening. So I
Mhm.
think there's really no difference, other than the fact that it would just be great to be able to work with them and keep up a good relationship with them.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's that's the best approach here.
So question for you guys, how do you uh, sort of think about this long term if, you know, if nobody knows where I guess what could be the downside? That's what I'm asking to think. Like, is somebody else going to call and complain, or
You mean in terms of removal?
reporting, the homeowner is doing something or has equipment in a wetland and the commission can't say, or Ethan, we're not in a position to know where it is or what they're doing.
It wouldn't be any different. The enforcement order doesn't extend your authority. It just acts as a record to allow you to enforce it. So as long as there's no further enforcement necessary, then there wouldn't be any difference. And we would still, of course, have the record of any discussions we have. It just wouldn't be on that form. It would still be out there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what you're suggesting. Do we just leave it pending until this is resolved? Do we ratify it and then file it as concluded once the plantings are done?
Yeah, there wouldn't be an official filing. So if you opted not to ratify the order, it would be withdrawn and invalidated. But like I was saying, we could still keep the record of the discussions. That would serve the same purpose, but it would allow us to do it without giving them an enforcement order. So because the order was issued by myself, being at the next commission meeting, you would ratify it to make it confirmed, or you could withdraw it if you decide it's not necessary. So I would just suggest withdrawing it, given that we've already reached an agreement with them. But you're not going to be losing any authority or losing any protection. That's why I would recommend that.
And what does ratifying it do? Does it go to DEP?
What happens with a ratified order?
That they would get a copy just like any of the other permits. It would just be on the record voted on by the whole commission rather than one single person.
Given that, and given that there's nothing else that entails, I would say we ratify it since it did cause the actions we've taken tonight, and then conclude with the agreement for the plant for further meetings in the spring and the plantings to follow.
I agree with that.
Sure. And then I'll probably amend it just to reflect our conversation tonight, just to update the information.
That'd be fine.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe we have to take a vote.
Yes, I was going to ask for a motion to ratify the order then.
I'll make a motion to ratify the enforcement order.
A second. Ellen?
I vote to
Are
amend it. I agree.
So you'll second the motion?
I need you to second the motion. I agree. I agree with whatever you and
I'll second Jennifer.
Paul and Jennifer, decide.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Jennifer?
Yes.
Eleanor, are you abstaining then?
I'm going to vote yes because I think we need
Three. Voting. Yes, I think you're right. And I vote yes. So we've ratified the order. Ethan will add to it the record of our discussion tonight, and we'll move forward as the season allows to a visit and concluding on next steps with Alyssa and Bobby. Okay, I think we're set on that one for tonight. Next on the agenda. Pack self-storage, which was due half an hour ago. DEP 313652, pack self-storage of Wakefield, care of Chris Capozzoli, 50 Quanapallet Parkway. Thought I saw Chris, but maybe I don't.
I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Brian, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening to you. Good evening to members of the commission. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail representing Pack Self Storage for the proposed project at 50 Quanapallet Parkway. little bit of background. We were last before you way back on October 21st at your meeting that evening, obviously some time ago. To refresh your memory a little bit, following your prior comments, we retained Arthur Allen, a wetland soil scientist with Ecotech, to delineate the wetlands on the property. And at that meeting, Mr. Allen presented his findings and proposed wetland line to the commission. The commission reviewed his work and agreed with his wetland line delineation. As a result of the newly delineated wetland boundary, you may recall, our originally proposed driveway and parking area was positioned directly adjacent to the wetland resource area. Originally, with the way the wetland line was delineated by Peter Fletcher, you might recall, we were about 3 feet away from the wetland line, but Art Allen actually pulled it in. So when he completed his line, we were actually right on the wetland line, not even 3 feet away. At that time, we agreed that we would go back to the drawing board and we would shift the project to create an 8-foot separation from the wetland boundary. We told you we thought we could accomplish that, and we agreed to that. And we also agreed to work collaboratively with the commission to provide some meaningful planting enhancements along within the wetlands or the wetland edging. And we had talked about that. So we went back to redesign mode and engineering mode on this. Unfortunately, our redesign process took longer than anticipated. That's why it's been since October. As you may be aware, our previous engineering firm, Hayes Engineering, went out of business in the middle of this process. So we needed to hire a new engineer. We retained Rick Salvo from Engineering Alliance from Saugus to assume the engineering and site civil responsibilities for the project. Mr. Salvo, the plans we submitted to you last week has drawn those plans. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here tonight because he has a conflict. He's out of state. But in any event, it did require some time for him to get fully up to speed with the site conditions and prior approvals and commission discussions. So we appreciate your patience during that transition period that's occurred. We have submitted to you, as you're aware, last week. We've submitted revised plans that are consistent with our prior discussions and agreements. And if I can share my screen, Mr. Chair, would that be okay?
Sure. Go right ahead, Brian.
Great, thank you. You able to see it or no?
Nothing yet, Brian.
Okay, hang on, I gotta figure this out. Apologize. New computer.
Oh, we kept you waiting.
Did that work or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank goodness. So you can see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So as you will, I'm going to show you that the project, let me blow this screen up. This was an issue of concern for the commission. That right here, can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a wetland line is delineated by Art Allen. And early on, we had a pinch point here that originally it was 3 feet from the Fletcher line, which was further back. This line got closer. And at the meeting on October 21st, we agreed that we would pull that away 8 feet from the correct wetland line as delineated by Art Allen. So we've been able to shift the project over to the right. And we talked about that. So we've created an 8.6 foot space here between the wetland and actually an 11-foot space here. So we've established that agreed upon 8-foot separation from the wetland line. What we've also done, we've incorporated native species plantings along the wetland buffer area, which are shown here. The planting plan and specific locations were recommended by Art Allen. He suggested these plantings as native and appropriate for this area. He worked hand in hand with our landscape architect, James Emanuel, to ensure the ecological appropriateness and enhancement of the wetland area.
So this is an area that's currently lawn, Brian?
This is the area that is currently lawn, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
That will be restored.
Okay.
So we're planning on planting, or we're proposing to plant 23 trees back here, and then approximately a dozen or so shrubs mixed in. So this is what we had talked about, the restoration area. This is a lawn area.
Mm-hmm.
We also, at that meeting, we said we were going to propose something to you, but as we previously indicated, we welcome a collaborative discussion with the commission regarding the planting plan. We had told you we would work with our experts to come up with what they recommended, but we remain fully open to dialogue if the commission feels adjustments or refinements are warranted from what we proposed. This isn't hard fast. It's a working collaborative that we think through our experts this is appropriate. But again, we're happy to take input or entertain any edits or amendments that the commission will want. Our goal is to provide plantings that are not only compliant but offer genuine environmental and wetlands benefit. So I think
the two tree species you've chosen for the wet area there in the lawn makes sense. The black gum and red maple are both pretty moisture tolerant. So
you don't have to make
beautiful and beautiful.
Yeah. So
that's fine. I wish I could take credit for them. I'll have to give that to our landscape architect because I don't know what they are, but I'm glad you're happy with them.
I was just looking at the plant schedule on the right side of your screen.
You'll be very happy with them.
Yeah, okay. I think that should work pretty well, and especially with the understory shrubs being planted in among them. That'll be a nice little woodland, actually. Might also help buffer the building a bit although the building is a storage building, so not going to be a lot of occupancy, but buffer it a bit from noise from the highway.
So also, just to remind you, we also had made a promise. We all recognize that portions of the site contain invasive species, including Phragmites and glossy buckthorn. Art Allen had provided some testimony to the commission back in October in that regard. So as we move forward, we appreciate the opportunity to discuss an invasive species remediation plan with the commission to address these areas in a responsible and an effective manner as part of this project. So there'll be an O&M plan or conditions that we can work together on as far as drafting to make sure that proper maintenance and upkeep of these plantings are attended to, and also for the invasive species aspect of the project. We are currently in the process of completing a revised stormwater management report reflecting the updated site layout. Once that is finalized, we will be submitting that to the commission for your review, but we're not done with that. It should be done in the very near future, hopefully for your next hearing. In addition, we will be recommencing our hearing process before the Zoning Board of Appeals tomorrow night as part of the broader permitting process for the project as a whole, and we will keep them informed as we go there to make sure that the plans stay in sync with each other, both the zoning board plans and the Conservation Commission plans. So in summary, we feel that we've kept our promises from October, obviously subject to your review of the stormwater report that you're going to get. The wetland line has been confirmed and agreed upon by a very respectable professional. The project has been shifted to provide the 8-foot separation that the commission wanted. Native plantings have been incorporated based on expert recommendations. We're prepared to collaborate on the plantings and obviously the invasive species remediation that we talked about. And as I mentioned, the stormwater report will be forthcoming. And, at the appropriate time, we can talk about conditions / O&M plan. So that's where we are with this. I think we've made some good progress, and we look forward to being back at the ZBA tomorrow night. And as a whole, the size of the project has shrunk from a square footage perspective, not a footprint perspective. The footprint's got about 1,100 square feet bigger than it actually was, but the square footage of the facility has significantly come down from approximately 125,000 square feet to about 98,000 square feet as a whole. Not that that's really a jurisdictional issue for the Conservation Commission, but the building's getting shorter and having less square footage at the end of the day as well.
Okay.
So happy to answer any questions or take any comments that the commission might have, Mr. Chair.
It looks like a reasonable approach to the concerns we voiced back in the fall.
Sorry, can you, just zoom out a little.
And I think the combination of the plantings that you had previously proposed and along the pathway, as well as the plantings in the back, should improve the site's environmental benefits. You might end up with a bunch more animal species in there as a result. Eleanor, Jennifer, comments, questions?
Brian, can we just can you zoom out for a second and just
Yeah, you want to make it smaller, Eleanor, like that?
small, so I can just see the whole sort of parcel in the. Sorry.
Is that okay?
Yeah, zoom out, but I wanted to look at the bottom part,
Oh.
sort of closest to
That's
Quantapawa.
Parkway.
Yep,
Oh,
I know.
hold on.
Hang on.
Like
Sorry.
here, Eleanor? You want to blow that
yes.
up?
That's perfect. Sorry, I just wanted to
Okay, no problem.
focus on this area. Okay, so
Essentially, it's your client's work would start where the parcel borders North Avenue.
Correct. This is all of these are all of the plantings in the open space area that we discussed
Right.
that would be in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
This is the planting schedule that goes with that on this side. And then this plant schedule is the restoration area in the back.
Ah, okay.
So we haven't taken away any of the plantings on the open area.
Okay.
and then this front area will that will be given to the town, or how will that?
No, it'll be a restriction that
Okay.
it'll be owned, but it will be a restriction of no further development in open area.
But the town people will be able to use that in
Correct.
perpetuity? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a public walking path, I think, is how you described it in the past.
Mhm.
Correct.
Thank you for working with us, Brian, and taking our comments and feedback. And, this is really great to see, this effort to restore and improve. I mean, certainly an improvement.
Yeah, absolutely is. Do you want us to take action tonight, or do you want us to hold on this, Brian? What's your?
Yeah, I think we would want you to hold on this because we've got to go back to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
And there
So
could be
things could still change.
There could be some changes. Yeah, I don't think it's certainly not going to get. I don't think you're going to certainly not going to we're not going to go closer to the wetlands or anything. But there might be some changes to the building potentially.
Yeah.
That I would not want the plans out of sync. And plus, we've got to submit the stormwater report for the record.
Okay. Well, we'll look for that, and we'll wait to hear more from you about next steps. But I think your client has done a good job of addressing our concerns that we raised back in the fall.
Thank you.
I have no further questions.
Jennifer, anything? Okay. Brian, thanks very much. Appreciate that. I guess we can move on to our next agenda item. We're now into the other business.
Chair, do you want to continue this to a date, just so we have that?
Sure. What would you suggest in terms of
What's the commission's next meeting?
Let's see, I guess it would be March 3rd. Am I right about that, Ethan?
Yes, March 3rd, and then I think the 17th is the next one after that.
So,
Yes, we want to keep it on. We'd like to go March 3rd because then we can see where we are with the zoning board after tomorrow night, if that's okay.
okay, then we'll continue it to March 3rd and we'll, if we need to extend to push it out further, you can let us know at that time.
I'll let you know. I'll let Judy know. Yep.
Great. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. So the next one is 313624 DV file, 592 to 596 North Avenue, request for certificate of compliance. Discussion and vote. Ethan, do you want to speak to that at all? Or Troy, are you representing the?
I am, yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Troy Ronald. I am a civil engineer at Williams and Sparagus. I'm representing 0 North Ave Wakefield LLC as part of the 36 unit apartment building at 596 North Ave. We submitted a Form 8A request for a COC. I'm aware that Ethan had walked the site with Chris Baragis, and he seems to be okay with everything out there. He thinks it looks good. The as-built conditions appear to be in compliance with the order of conditions. And with that being said, I will just leave it open for discussion, and if anyone has any questions.
Ethan, you want to confirm that?
Yep, I went to the site. It was over a month ago before it had snowed, so I was able to see the conditions on the ground, and it looked good. Looks in line with what you see on the plan.
Yeah. And the building is in the process of being occupied, from what I've noticed.
Yes.
Good. This one fitted in such a way that you put it on the upland portion of that parcel, as I remember it. And the wetlands are essentially behind you and then off to facing it from the street to the right, towards the stream. Am I correct about that? Correct? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Ethan, anything else to note on in terms of your site visit?
No, they do have a knotweed management plan. I believe that's been going on for 2 years now. So that'll just be continuing in the next couple of years.
That site was a knotweed forest before this project was built. So I'm not surprised at that. Eleanor, Jennifer, any questions or comments?
How's the knotweed treatment working, Troy?
At least I've seen from pictures. I haven't been out there. I'm sort of just filling in for Chris, but it seems to be going very well. I could let Joe Pride speak on that. He's been dealing with it, 2 times a year, I think. So it looks good, and they're keeping up with it. So from the pictures and what I could tell, it looks good.
Okay. And then, sorry, just remind me, where's the, so when I did a just walk by, I couldn't see any of the vegetation, right, because the snow was down.
Mhm.
But the snow was in the back of your property. Is where was the final like snow management plan?
I believe I don't have that up. I can pull that up. Should be on our design.
Apologies, I'm new to the commission, so it's, when we sort of walk into these completed projects, trying to piece together
Yeah.
what we approved.
Sorry.
This is Joe
I,
Pride. This is Joe Pride
Oh,
from Wakefield Associates. Can you hear me?
Hi, Joe. Yep.
hi.
Yeah. So there's a couple grass areas that we are using for the snow storage. To the back left and the front, I believe. If you pull up the site plan, you'll be able to see it. It's labeled on the site civil, I believe. Oh, it might even be on the landscape. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have the plans in front of me. Sorry. Basically, anywhere that there's a sod area, because that's what we're using for snow storage.
Okay.
And back to the knotweed question, we've been cutting it down spring and fall and spraying the shoots. Which we'll continue to do in the spring.
Okay. I think I'm good. And there was like a fence at the rear. Sorry, like something separating parking lot,
There is a
grass. Yeah.
there's a chain link fence in the back. Before that, there's a barrier for so the cars don't drive off because there's a 6 or 8 feet retaining wall back there.
Okay, perfect. So we
Yeah,
don't, it would be difficult to push snow into
yeah,
like
and
directly into
plus
the
we
wetland.
wouldn't be.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're not allowed to dump snow back there anyways. That's all conservation. So, but
Okay.
there is probably a 5-foot area between the guardrail and the fence where there is snow storage there also along that back fence.
Okay. No, that's we were getting not on your property, but emails, messages about snow storage and so that's great. Thank you.
Yep. No. Yeah. That site was designed for snow storage.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Jennifer, anything?
Yeah, I'll just kind of, and I'm the newest to the commission, but I just want to, and this is, I think, actually mainly a question for Ethan, which is like, I'm looking at the conditions 58, 59. 59 is the stormwater management. So Bill, I think, Bill has to sign off on this. So that already happened. Well, for Ethan or the applicant.
Bill has signed off on um, engineering as far as engineering is concerned. Yes, he has signed off on that.
Okay. As part of the as-built plan, the engineer shall certify through direct observation photographs that the system is installed as designed. That's what I'm looking at.
Yes, and that's how we got our certificate of occupancy. Also, we wouldn't have been able to get that until he signed off on that. So,
Okay.
and
All right.
we do have a full certificate of occupancy as of I think 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay. And then just another related question about snow management, which is the 58, which is the regulation, I think in perpetuity, perpetual condition 58 about not using, sodium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride. And so that is managed for you all by the snow management operator, does your de-icing.
Yes, we actually picked up a couple crates worth of 5-gallon buckets of, I think it's like a pet friendly kind of situation. But yeah, it's free of all those salts that prohibited to use on that site. So we do have that actually on site if anyone actually wanted to go by and check it out.
Okay, yeah, and that's what you manage. Do I understand that right, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, you
Yeah.
manage the de-icing and snow storage.
Yes.
Okay. Let me check. I think that, yeah. And I guess my last question was, I think, a question for Ethan about just these kind of exceptions that were, reported, do those go on the certificate?
The conditions that you just talked about, is that what you're referring
No,
to?
in the cover letter, just kind of the variances or that were
Oh,
listed. Do those?
no, those are just things to consider when issuing the COC. You
Mhm.
can always make a note of it if it's something substantial, though.
Okay, those are the only questions I have.
Do we want to authorize Ethan to issue a certificate of compliance? Are we comfortable then? If so, I guess we need a motion, please.
Sorry, Paul, I just wanted to bring up a sort of housekeeping matter. So we're voting tonight, but I don't know, like if since our mailbox wasn't working, we weren't able to get emails if there are any communications. So that's just something for us to be cognizant of. I don't know that it's an issue for this, but since this is the first sort of official matter that we're voting on, that's it. So meaning that it could be a potential reason to appeal a decision.
What could be a reason to appeal?
If the public isn't able to access like the commission, right, and provide input, we give ways for the public to participate in the meeting, to provide information. And again, it's not germane to this, but since it's this particular project, but it's just
Yeah, I didn't
something.
see anything in the mailbox this afternoon
Okay.
related to this project.
Okay. Perfect. I was not able to check. Thank you. Okay.
So I think we're able to move it forward.
So I'll make the motion to have Ethan issue the certificate of compliance.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
thanks. All in favor? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote in favor as well. So Ethan, if you would draft up a certificate of compliance then that responds to this, I think we can move that forward.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. The next is 52 Bay State Road, TEP 313589. We need to deal with the need for an amended order of conditions. So, Ethan, do you want to speak to why? What's driving the amendment? And is there someone here to speak to it from the project?
Yep. So Roger is here to speak on this. I'll let him give a bit of a description of the project, but he is looking to amend his existing order of conditions. And what we're doing today is determining if an amendment is appropriate or if it should be a new permit. So if you do determine that the amendment is appropriate, then he'll prepare the materials for an upcoming meeting to be officially voted on.
Okay.
And then Roger, do you want to tell us a bit about the work you're looking to do?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sitting in front of the camera. I don't see my picture, so I don't know whether you can. But I think briefly.
You need to turn on your video down in the lower left if you
Oh,
have.
all right. Hey, my first Zoom meeting. I've done Skype, but not this.
There you are. We see you now.
Okay. We basically started a project in-house, our house. I've been doing all the CAD work for my wife's dream kitchen. So you can understand why it's gone through a bunch of iterations. And when we applied for the notice of intent, we intended to put a new room on the northwest corner of the house. You can see right here was where the additional room was going to be. And we were going to rebuild the breezeway so that I could put a stair lift down to the cellar. I'm a cellar rat, and I've got a workshop down there. But everything costs more than what we anticipated. And there are potential zoning problems here. So it was pushing the kitchen out further in time. So what we decided to do is leave the breezeway as is, not put this room on here, but in order to make space for the kitchen, we want to extend the L of the house by 7 feet.
So that's this area in red.
Yeah, this was my first diagram that I tried to show what we were doing to Ethan. Underneath here, there's a bulkhead, basically the same. That will be removed and moved over to the side of the addition. But we needed more room to give her the dream kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So we also kind of ran out of time in that we went out a couple of times and tried to contact 2 or 3 contractors more than design build, because I've kind of modeled the whole thing in 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get much of a bite. I think it's dependent on the time of year. This time was just before the start of the year, and we were successful. Other times I was just trying to get the project in before frost, and I guess they were all booked up. But in essence, we've cut back on what we planned to do. This area you can see is slightly smaller than the area was shown down here. And we're not going to touch the breezeway anymore. And from the original plot plan that was shown, had we done the addition over here, we were going to add a walkway so that I could actually ride a wheelchair through there. I walked short distances on crutches. By the way, it's because I had polio at age 6, and the circle's coming around as I get older. Old age and polio are catching up to me again. But from the original plot plan, I've eliminated showing the walkway, which is associated with the work over here. I think that covers it. I've given more diagrams to Ethan. I don't know whether I can do pages down or it's just the only thing here, Ethan.
I'll take a look. So I recall you saying you did some of the work. That was the wheelchair ramp you had done already?
Well, we not not for this project. We coincidentally put a wheelchair lift in from the first floor to the second floor so I could get to the bedrooms. It's just a separate little, I guess, justify wanting to put a stair lift down to the basement also. My mobility is gradually eroding. But the chairlift that I referred to was only as an example of why I wanted to put a chairlift on the western side of the house, which we're not doing now. We've just, I guess I don't get to go down cellar.
So essentially, Roger, you're shrinking what you had proposed to do compared to your prior request.
Yes, that's correct. But I'd say we probably took 60% of the project out. Just on square footage of the rebuild the breezeway plus a room here versus a smaller room there.
So rebuilding the breezeway is over to the left.
Yes. Here's the garage, if you can see my cursor.
Now I see your cursor. I see patio, concrete patio breezeway to be rebuilt, right?
Yeah, well, that's just going to exist the way it's been for 40 or 50
so it's
years.
going to stay as it is, no changes.
No changes over here at all.
So essentially, the only work you're proposing to do now is that 7-foot addition off the back and moving the bulkhead to connect to that. Is that what I'm?
It's actually replacing the bulkhead. It got old and tired, and the hinges have rotted. It's an old bulkhead. If it was wood, I'd try and fix it myself. But yeah, we're going to have to take out the existing bulkhead that sits right in this area here. Mm-hmm. It's almost visible, and it is on. I've submitted a bunch of PDFs to Ethan to discuss the project and, try and define it for him. And this was just the original sheet that I gave him. I have some additional ones that I shaded the house that makes it stand out and easy to read. But yes, that's correct. We're just going to put in a replacement bulkhead for the one that we take out and extend this L 7 feet. And that's all the exterior work.
Okay. And that area that you're extending into is currently lawn, or is that paved? I see.
There are like foundation plantings on either side of the existing breezeway, and there's a walk. See this walk that extended down basically right. That's where the breezeway was. So we're not doing anything else.
Okay. Ethan, do you have enough to produce an amended order?
If you do decide the amended is the right route to go, I'll just have them put together the official submission. But from what I've seen, I'll work with Roger to make sure we have enough to review it. It'll just be some plans as well as a written narrative is most of what we need.
Right. Eleanor, you had expressed concerns in the past about question of amending versus a new order.
I think. Go on.
Yes. Looking at one like this, I'm just thinking we're basically dealing with a substantially reduced scope. So an amendment to the order to allow the scope to have been reduced seems to be reasonable, but leave it to you to relay what you learned from the circuit rider.
Oh, so I could be mistaken, but I thought amending an order restarts the clock. So if the homeowner is, sorry, Roger, I've kind of lost you on my screen. Let me see if I can get you back. Like,
still here.
if your order of conditions is for 3 years from the date of issuance. So if you think, Ethan, I guess what I'm wondering for the homeowner is if he's experiencing delays, then amended order, does that reset the clock?
The
Did
amended
I
order,
answer here?
Sorry. So it's just a technical question for you because we want to make sure we do sort of what makes sense and what's the easiest and
the amended order would not extend the expiration, but that's something that I looked at with Roger to make sure that he has time to do the work. It seems like there's about 2 years, just over 2 years left on this order of conditions. So if he needed to extend it, he could do it as a separate application, but it would not extend the order beyond the April 2028 that we have now.
Okay.
okay. And the resource area, it's not getting any closer to the wetland. It's smaller.
Right.
And there's still, you haven't even started, so you haven't gone through building inspector or anything like that, have you yet, Roger?
No, I'm probably a couple of weeks away from awarding to the contractor. Slight correction. The big room where the excavation was in the original notice of intent was further from the wetland. The wetland is on the right-hand side. And it shows on that particular drawing the location of the wattle that was going to be required. So it's a little bit closer by about 25 feet, but it's less excavation. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Or?
Yep,
All right.
yep, that's helpful.
And the estimated construction time is really only about 3 months. It's not a very big extension, so even given the poking along, as long as we get it done this season, I'm happy and it's well within the time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, at the end of the project, Roger will have to do an as-built, right? So,
Certificate of compliance at that point.
right. So you would just come back and show the final build and explain any differences that deviated from plan.
No
So,
problem.
so yeah, unless something comes, this is my thinking. I can't speak for the other commissioners. They'll listen to what I have to say and ignore me or, but, if the building, if the building inspector says, you got to reconfigure this again, I personally, as long as it's not moving closer to the wetland, I think that's fine. But again, that's not a hard no. If an issue comes up, flag it to Ethan and he can bring it back to us. So
I certainly would. There was a possibility that on the western end with the original submission, if you zoom out and look at the whole plot plan, there's a strip of land along the western property line that we had to go to land court for. We bought the house when we got married in '69. And I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years after that, we found out that the roadway for Curly Lane was halfway through our garage. So we had to, by adverse possession, get that rectified. And that's why if you look on the left-hand side of the complete plot plan, there's all sorts of notations of property line, this, that, and so forth. That had the potential for my having to go to ZBA, but that was another benefit of cutting down the project and moving it.
right. And when we have a good building inspector, so he'll let us, I believe he would also let us know if he saw an issue. So
yeah, and I don't expect any problems in the building inspector.
No.
Historically, I talked to Jack back before, I guess it's Benjamin is now the building inspector. And we had a brief discussion of this thing about setbacks and what's the property line? Is it the one from land court, or was it the original property line? That's all out of the question now, so I don't expect any problems.
Well, thank you for your time. I don't have any other questions.
For anything?
No questions.
Okay, do we want to, I think do we need a motion then to approve the amendment?
Yeah, vote would be good just to make
Okay.
sure you approve moving forward with the amendment, and then we'll review the official submission soon.
Okay. Go ahead. Eleanor?
Sorry, just a technical. I guess that was my question. Do we even need to formally do an amendment?
Well, it's different from what I said we were going to do before.
Okay.
He's in the suggest on that, not me.
Okay.
Yes, I think amendment would be the right choice.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. I'll make a motion to amend the order.
Consistent with what Roger has submitted and what will be developed as final plan to attach to it. Jennifer, second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Eleanor?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Roger, thank you. You have your amended order. Ethan will memorialize that and get it out to you.
Very good. Thank you. Good night.
Your time tonight. Okay. DEP 313648, 395 Vernon Street. Request for certificate of compliance. Discuss and vote.
Yes, good evening. Paul Finocchio, PGF and Associates, 4 Highland Ave, Wakefield. I'm here on behalf of John Mangano, who is the owner and the applicant of the property located at 395 Vernon Street. He is requesting a certificate of compliance for the work done at the site. We were before this board back in January of 25 for the demolition of an existing family dwelling, a pool and shed, and to construct a new single-family dwelling. I did submit it in a as-built site plan and also some pictures of the site. So if you want me to share.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Paul, just giving us a quick walkthrough on that, or what you see.
Find where I am, yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
So this is the, so I can see this. Okay, this is the existing house that's out here now.
We're not seeing anything new yet, Paul.
Okay. I have it on the screen here. So
did you do share?
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Share right here.
Ethan, do you have any? Okay, Paul's got it. Go.
You can see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have, this is the existing house that's now been constructed. There is a driveway coming in off of Vernon Street servicing the house. There was a drainage system installed here to handle half of the roof runoff. And there was a deck installed in back. I don't have the existing plan, but roughly right in this area was the existing pool. Out back here was the existing shed that was removed, and the existing house was along this area and out to the front. What was not constructed was we had a circular drive actually coming in and around. That was not installed. They just came over the straight driveway into the proposed garage, the existing garage. I do have some pictures of the site. This is the drainage system that's out in front of the house, to showing basically it was the Caltech system with crushed stone with the standpipe for the observation port. And then this is the front of the house. There was a lawn installed. This is the existing driveway. And in the rear of the property, this lawn was installed. And this is just a picture showing the back area. There was some guys who had worked out there. As part of the order of conditions, he was to clean up the rear of the site, removing any of the debris and so forth. The shed was over in here, and the pool was roughly in this area right in here.
Quite a comprehensive change.
Yes.
Ethan, anything to add?
No, nothing to add. I was not able to make a site visit, but I'd asked for these pictures to see the conditions before the snow had fallen. So it looks again like what the plans show.
Okay.
This one is pretty far from the wetlands to
The
begin
wetland
with.
is behind the house and at a considerable distance.
Yes. The 100-foot buffer actually ran through a portion of the house. If I can go back to the
Okay.
just pan down. So this was the 100-foot. This is the outer, because it's actually we do have the Saugus River that's part of the property line, but the 100-foot buffer is right through here.
Okay.
And then the wetlands line is out back here, sort of a V shape. Then this was the edge of the
bank.
Yes.
The riverfront. Okay. Looks like your client has done what they told us they were going to do.
Yes.
So seems fairly straightforward. Eleanor, Jennifer, questions for Paul?
This seems straightforward. It looks like lesser impact. With reduced driveway, but
Yeah, that's true. Less impervious.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was this built for was this developer built, or was this built by the owner?
Well, he is the owner. He's also a developer.
Okay.
This house is on the market.
Okay. Yeah. So, my question is, sort of how does for the perpetual conditions, how does the order of condition get to the new owner? How does that information get conveyed?
It's part of the chain of title. It's the order of conditions has been submitted and recorded at the registry of deeds, and then the certificate of compliance will also be recorded at the registry of deeds. So it's always in title whenever there's a search for property.
Okay. So it's part of the materials that the homeowner receives, or the buyer.
Yeah, there'll be
any transfer, the buyer would receive that, right, as part of a title review.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't have any other questions. I agree. It's looks very straightforward.
Sorry, quick. Paul, who submits that?
Excuse me?
Who submits that to the registry? Is it the homeowner or
the
property
yes.
owner?
The homeowner right now would submit the certificate of compliance.
Okay.
He also submitted the order of conditions.
Okay.
It's already been recorded.
Yes.
Right. Perfect.
Okay.
I have no comments.
Okay, I think we need a motion to authorize the certificate then with this.
I'll make a motion to authorize the certificate of compliance.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, Paul, thank you for your time. Your
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too.
Okay, we are on to
We
DEP.
have Brian here, Paul, if you want to let him talk before we get into the rest of the commission stuff.
Okay, sure.
So he had a couple sites with some enforcement related matters. I think he'd like to give some background to us.
Okay, Brian.
Thank you, Ethan, and thank you for the courtesy. Appreciate that.
Good night, Paul.
So I have two matters that have been before the commission. One is 129 Oak Street. I've been retained by the property owners on that. There was an issue that was brought up back, I think, in 2023 on some filling on the site that needs resolution. And then there was also an issue brought up on Keys Tree on Water Street, and I have been retained by them. And so what we would like to do on those, both of them, first of all, on Keys Tree, I've had a meeting out there with Elaine and Jim Luciani when he was on the chair, and we talked about certain things to be done out there to stabilize it. We don't think there's any violation there. That we do think that some improvements can be made there by putting in some blocks that wouldn't cause any disturbance to kind of maintain material and prevent it from the risk of it going into any of the riverfront area. We don't think that will require a notice of intent, but that will be for the commission to determine. So our recommendation on that would be that once the snow melts, we would set up a site visit for the commission to come out to see what's there, and then to come back before the commission at a meeting to have a discussion about it, determine what's appropriate and what should be done in the proper permitting path to do it. We're happy to go out there as soon as ready. We had, again, with Hayes Engineering going out of business, it's caused some issues, but the survey work on this site was done prior to snow, so we should have survey on this shortly. So we would like to kind of get in the queue to do a site visit. We think would be good for the commission to come out to the property to see what's going on. It's always helpful.
Brian,
So,
I would like to be included in that, please.
That's great. More than welcome. Thank you. So we would like to do that. And then on 129 Oak Street, that is the same thing. Hayes Engineering was involved in that. I had meetings out there with Elaine and Ethan and Bill Renault. We have some ideas on what would be appropriate to resolve that, but it's not really feasible to have a discussion with the commission in that regard without you seeing it. So we would like to invite you to a site visit there as well once the snow melts, and then we can reconvene before the commission to make a determination what has to be done on both of these properties. They're now represented by council. They want to get it resolved and to put this behind them in a positive way.
So
Brian, I would love to be included in that. Thank you.
Yes.
So at this point, I think, Brian, in both cases, a site visit probably needs to wait until we're at least out of snow season. Depending on where we're walking on the sites, we may or may not want to worry about mud season, but we can take a look later into March.
Yeah, just to keep these moving, because I think there's urgency with both the commission and with both of these parties to get these resolved. So I would respectfully suggest that you put this on your agenda for the second meeting in March that I will attend, and we can pick a site visit that day.
Okay, so that would be the
That way,
17th of March.
I think if we just say we'll get back to you on the site visit, I don't want to be here 6 months from now. I want to.
No,
We all want to keep this moving, so I would suggest that we put it on the agenda for the second meeting in March, and at that meeting we can see where the snow is and set a date for a site visit.
sounds good.
And I will buy some waiter boots.
Yes.
Ethan, if you can just make sure that that's penciled in for March 17th agenda now.
Yep, I'll do that. And thank you, Brian, for the update on this.
Yeah.
And the other
Weekends.
thing on the agenda, Mr. Chair, would be maybe on that same agenda to put Cataldo Ambulance on to set a site visit for them as well, because if you might recall, the commission issued a certificate of compliance on that, but we agreed that we would come back in March to discuss the invasive species. And we said that there would need to be a site visit. So if we're going to schedule site visits, we maybe can put that on for that meeting to schedule a site visit as well.
Okay. Right. Yeah. And
Thank you, Brian.
from what I've seen from the street on that one, they've done a nice job of resurrecting that site.
They have. Looks great.
Yeah. Much improved from the old building that they took over. Okay, then we'll plan on adding that and get all of those scheduled up when we meet in March.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Appreciate the courtesy.
Jennifer, questions?
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Thank you, Dee.
All right.
Paul, are we on the last item on the agenda, enforcement? Is that what this pertains to?
These were enforcement items that we needed to discuss.
Yeah, okay.
And we still have multiple other items to get through. So in the interest of not keeping Brian all night, we took these and now we'll move to the rest of our agenda.
Appreciate the courtesy. Thank you.
Sorry, Brian, just a quick refresher and we'll
Yep.
move. Are these related to any, like with Townland too, or is it just on the proper, like?
Keach Tree is related. There's no town land involved.
Okay.
Yeah. On 129 Eleanor, there might be an encroachment onto town land that we can discuss on the site visit.
Okay, that's good. Okay, yep, that's ringing a bell. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you, look forward to it, Brian. Our track record is rain, rain.
See you in March.
Rain.
That has been the case, yes. It's either rain or we're going to get snowed on heavily.
Yeah, it's always rain on our site visits. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Weekends, I know, or weekends are ideal for us if, I mean, just if your client wants to plan ahead.
Yeah, we'll do what we have to do.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brian. I think we'll move on to 100 Hemlock Road, DEP 313620. Discuss the salt incident. Ethan, do you want to provide some background to that?
Sure, I'll pass this to Jennifer. Actually, I think she had brought it to my attention in the first place.
Okay. Right. So there was essentially this has all been kind of documented, memorialized in an email, but essentially on I think around January 20th, I received an email from a nearby resident to the NEMT school building project at 100 Hemlock Road. They were off the property, but thought that they saw salt on the property, which they knew was against the perpetual condition as part of their order of conditions. So I stopped by the office of let's see, Gilbane Construction Company, which is the construction manager, and PMA, which is the project manager for the construction site. They said that I needed to have steel toe boots to walk on the site. So I had to kind of get those, come back the next day, walk the site. All of this is documented in the email. They acknowledged they had put salt on the construction road a couple of times this season. I think from there, after that, And they did clarify just in that one day between my first and my second visit there, and one day clarified that it is a perpetual condition and that, they realize and acknowledge that they need to not put salt down. And I think from there they worked with DEP, and then I saw that we got an email from probably Gilbane and DEP that they had decided on an alternative de-icer. But I thought it would be good to put on the agenda just so that it's reflected in the meeting minutes.
What are they
And
using the de-icer today?
let me take a look. They sent,
They're using
It says
calcium
calcium
chloride now.
carbonate.
They moved to
Okay.
calcium chloride from sodium chloride. Okay.
And just a question for Ethan. I mean, Ethan, have you ever with a construction site, like site visit, have you ever been told you can't walk on the site? I mean, they told me that it was for their insurance policy, but it just seems like it could potentially affect, visiting sites for enforcement. Um,
No, usually they'll refuse access if you're not having the appropriate equipment.
mhm.
But a site like this tends to be open to anyone if they're asking for a reason and wearing appropriate equipment, but I've never had an issue going on a site with approval.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought, if that's something that is going to come up from time to time, it might make sense to have those at the office,
Mhm.
um, to be able to go to. And I think it was needed. They wanted that at the construction site, not just on the property in general, but
Yep.
to go into the construction area.
Yeah, and they'll usually just give you a straight, they'll say no, you can't come on. There's no wiggle room with that, so it's a good point.
I think I still have a pair of steel-toed boots in the closet. So. Okay.
Oh, and
think-
actually, I mean, I think one other thing that I was thinking about that, I think, so from my conversation with, it was with Neil Venner was the person from Gilbane who walked with me on the site. And he said that, the road would be, or at least their goal was to have the road paved, which it's not currently this spring.
Mhm.
And I know after that happens is when they'll like remove the erosion controls and open up the, um,
The
basically
drain.
kind of the drainage, exactly. So I was wondering if that might be if it might be appropriate at that point for the commission as the commission to do a site walk, with Gilbane. And in part, I think this issue sort of brought up concern that, I think was expressed kind of very early on, even before the construction started, that this condition was going to get lost, and forgotten about and therefore not followed. So, would a site visit be a good opportunity just to ensure that, condition is going to be attended to, especially as basically kind of control of that area switches from Gilbane to the school, because the school is
Mhm.
going to open, or the goal is to open the school in the fall. So
Right.
there's going to be handoff of management of that area from Gilbane to the school, and maybe a site visit would be helpful at that stage.
Yeah, I think at some point as they're concluding construction, it would make sense to go take a look at how they've done, given the challenges. And this was an order that the commission initially denied, and DEP issued a superseding order of conditions. So it's been a different process from sort of usual. It'll be interesting. I question who issues the certificate of compliance in a case like that. Does it fall to us or does it fall to DEP?
It's the DEP would do that.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So, thanks for confirming that.
So in terms of setting that up, and I'm sure that I think they wanted to pave the road before kind of the winter season, and I think they just missed it. So I think they're going to be trying to do that as quickly as possible. So in terms of, ensuring that we get, that we arrange a visit, around that time, or like after it's done,
After the paving is complete.
after the paving's done and once the drainage is open, I mean, Ethan, is that something you'd be able to reach out to kind of get that on their radar about keeping in touch with us about that timing so we can do that?
Yeah, I'll reach out sooner than later. That is the DEP's permit, so I'll run it by them as well, but I'm sure they'd be happy to walk us through the site.
Yeah, I think it would be good to see that site and see how it's come forward. It's
Yeah, I mean, what I found when I went on the 20th was even answering questions about who's de-icing what was there was a lot of confusion about. I mean, they didn't, someone I spoke with couldn't even say who was de-icing what area, so I think it'd be good for them to be ready to, just clarify that they're on top of that.
Right.
So I did have one question, which was, and I agree with you, a site visit would make a lot of sense. And oftentimes we don't see as these projects are progressing,
right.
and do make these visits and sort of recognize if the orders are working or not. And I don't think, I mean, on the Voc, I've only seen one sort of update report at our request, whereas on the Wakefield High School, they send us regular reports, which, we can look at if needed. Sort of same with the homeowners. We're not getting any kind of status. So it's maybe just thinking about it broadly, a check-in or just to see where things are for projects in process and kind of coming, some sort of periodic.
Well, one of the reasons we don't see it on the Voc is because we didn't issue the permit.
Right.
I do get copied on their inspection reports
You do.
from the Voc, so those are usually at least once a week. But I think as we're getting closer to construction picking up again, I'll start updating you guys more as far as what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's such a big complex project. Like, for example, when I asked about kind of who was doing the de-icing, I mean, it wasn't clear when I first stopped by on the 20th if it was the school, Gilbane, DCR, or the town of Wakefield. I mean, that's 4 different people who might be de-icing, So just want to make sure they have answers and they sort that out.
And then I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything in what was sent. Did they, so they agreed to the calcium chloride. But was there anything about putting up the signage for snow sooner? Because it's a perpetual condition, so you would presume they're putting it up during construction and after.
Yeah,
You go
Because
ahead.
the key issue is people don't know the rules, and you have all these actors, contractors, how are they supposed to know unless there's a sign? You can't actually, how do you enforce this?
Yeah, that was I think Elaine's feedback on the situation is that a sign is very important. And again, they kind of clarified that for themselves between January 20th and the 21st that it was a perpetual condition, not a like post-construction, but now they know, so it would be a good idea for them. And I think maybe that could be maybe when you contact them, even that could be brought up or something that gets addressed at the site visit is that I mean, I feel pretty confident having gone through this that they're going to be on top of it this season, but then next winter, I mean, who
Yeah,
knows
I
if it's
think
not.
I think the entry road needs a sign. This road may not be treated with sodium chloride based de-icers.
Yeah, it's actually the whole property, but I think the sign is supposed to
Right.
go on the new entrance is where that's supposed to be.
New
Right.
entrance off of Farm Street. There.
Yeah.
Right. And DCR needs to be notified because they're, right, salting part of the property.
Okay, DCR.
For
Okay.
Breakheart. That's what
Yeah.
I had understood that they were responsible. So it's a very weird situation because I think the town is doing Hemlock, the
Hemlock Road is the town's.
that's
Yeah,
what I
I
thought, like the
think,
entrance off farm
mm,
for the school. No,
oh, that entrance, I don't know who's gonna
you know,
be.
when you go off Farm Street, this is how I understood it. And again, it's like years ago, and but it's Farm Street to the schools is, or maybe just up to the entrance of the Voc is DPW, like Wakefield DPW. Then you get into the parking lot, and it was like one part of it was the Voc. Like it was very confusing, the
Right.
Voc, and then they were saying about the DCR park doing salting up into the entrance
Energy
of
Park.
I don't know who's doing that salting. I mean, it would be the town because the town owned it, but
Yeah, I mean,
into Breakheart, like the parking
mm,
lot for Breakheart,
right.
they
Yeah,
did that.
well, when I attended the wetlands bylaw meeting with Bill, and Ethan, and I asked Bill at the end of it, I said, does the town salt or de-ice Hemlock Road? He said he said Wakefield does not de-ice Hemlock, DCR does.
Mhm.
So
So then it's a
yeah,
question for DCR as to what they're using for de-icing agents.
yes. And now the ones that I saw when I was there on the 20th and 21st, just on the campus, Hemlock Road area, that was not salt.
Okay.
So I wasn't worried about that. The salt that I saw was on the new driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So on the campus, you were satisfied they were using non-salt de-icers?
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on that? All right. We still have a few other matters to discuss. The 2025 annual report. Ethan circulated a draft of that to us. So I guess I'd ask if folks have suggestions for additions, changes.
I thought it was good. Overall, I think when I just reading it as an outsider and like a finance person, I'm, you know, uh, folks in that mindset always look for numbers. Um, and so I don't know that they appreciate how much work goes into approving a notice of intent or shepherding these projects through, and that, some of the hearings are like the Voc and the high school can continue over, like the
Weeks.
public hearings can last a long time and then continue. So it's hard when we just report on notices of intent. It it's probably missing all of Ethan's work. And I know there were some other things in there, but Ethan, I don't know if there's any other sort of stats that you think would be compelling.
Nothing that I can think of. I think these are usually just simple. It's to be included in the annual town report. Just a lot of boards will provide a page. So I couldn't think of anything else that was pretty consistent with what we did last year.
Took a look at, and I agree. I think it's comprehensive. I mean, there probably are ways to, kind of communicate how much some of this work is. I went back and looked at how many meetings. So you say that there's 30 public meetings, and I went back and looked at how many of those were like special meetings for the wetlands bylaw. I think I counted 7. Two of which were info sessions, and the other 5 of which were just special working meetings. So if you wanted to include that, or just sort of call that out, because that is going above and beyond. I think a typical year would only have like 24 meetings around. So just calling out special meetings. Again, 2 public info sessions and 5 special meetings about the bylaw.
And are those 2 included in the 5, or are those additional to the 5?
There's 7 total extra, and 2 of them are public info sessions
Okay.
about the wetlands bylaw, and 5 of them were just special meetings of the commission about it to work on it. Let's see what else.
I'll add that one. I think I like that addition.
I mean, things like, depends on how systematic you want it to be, but you know, it's always possible to say, you know, some of these were large projects, that, you know, or X number of projects had 6 or more hearings. You know, I mean, that takes time to compile because it involves going back over all the agendas, but, I think a number of them probably did involve, I mean, I can think of a few that involved multiple meetings. I just wanted to confirm the number of stewards. Was there 1 or 2 stewards for the town forest?
I thought we had 2.
What's on the report? Does it say 1 or 2?
It says 1.
1.
I think it's 2. Because I think there was, I don't know the person's name, but a man, and then there was Linda Ireland.
I think he had joined the previous winter, but I'll
Okay.
double check.
Okay.
Yep.
It would be possible, I mean, you can just consider this. You know, mentioning that the commission did a table, hosted a table at Wakefield Town Day. We presented to the planning board in one of their meetings. And I think Eleanor this year, right, did spend time on the knotweed presentation.
I did a
right?
knotweed presentation. Or was that last year? It may have been this year. I have to go back and
Yeah, it's kind of close. It was
look at.
before I joined in April, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because now the website's altered. I'm not sure there's a place to put up, you know, resident resources like that.
And I think you did also speak with someone from the town, right? About it. You shared that information with DPW.
I had forwarded it on to Bill, I thought, but I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I forgot about that, actually. That's a really good point. And I'm just looking that over again.
So those were the things that I came to mind if we wanted to, you know, just add more. I mean, again, I think it is comprehensive. It's just sort of how much do you want to?
I guess, are we limited to a page is the other question, because if we are, we need to probably do some careful editing to make sure we stay within that fit.
Yeah, it should stay to a page.
Okay.
But I can always I'll add all of these suggestions and then we could hone it down from there.
Okay, let's do that.
And I think one other edit, the paragraph that says all commission permits focus on stormwater management. I mean, I think it might, and we might say all commission permits consider stormwater management, but sometimes it's not applicable.
Yeah.
All commission permits consider stormwater management.
Yeah, that makes sense the way you say it.
And maybe even without numbers, just perhaps even just calling out somewhere that some of these projects are very large. Not only new projects, but also ongoing, like 200 Quanapowhat. I think that's the one. I think that's the one that we've spent a lot of time on this year.
Yes, we did.
That must have been before this past year as far as the permitting process, but definitely worked on it a little bit in other places.
Mhm.
I like all these suggestions. Can you share your screen? One of you, I'm sorry, I can't
Sure, yeah.
share. Yeah.
And I don't know if it, I mean, I don't know whether it adds value to mention, acquiring land, under conservation control. Is that visible? Okay.
So let me see. I always think of year ends, but this is for the 6/30 year end. So this would be June to June.
Well, it's June to June. Okay, June 2025 to 2020. No.
June 2024 to June 2025.
Okay.
And for half the, for half that time we were without, I don't want to say half. No, for Ethan, when did you start?
August.
And when did you go full time? You did.
September.
Okay.
24 or
Yep.
Yeah. Was
No,
it
I think
24?
that
Oh, no. Because
I
this
think
is,
this is for 2025, like the year, not
Calendar
June
year.
to June, unless I'm mistaken.
well,
Like
I
January
always,
1st
we
to
can pull up
December
the,
31st.
Aaron's on the phone. Maybe I mean, I don't know if that's something. Aaron, are you available?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yeah, it's
That's
for the calendar year.
Oh, it's the calendar year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then that's irrelevant.
so we want to modify the paragraph on the wetland bylaw to say held 2 public information sessions and 5 hearings for proposed wetland bylaw, correct?
Yeah. Do you want me to make these changes live?
I'll
Sorry.
make them and we
Okay,
could
Ethan's
bring it
gonna.
back to the next meeting.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Do we still have time to do it? Oh, yeah, the next meetings are the first part of March, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know how much these get read, but if it's very important to be inclusive. I mean, saying things like, some of these projects involved large projects taking place around Lake Quantapowhat, you know,
Mhm.
of significant interest to the public.
Okay. Anything additional on this? Well, thanks for those edits, Jennifer. Ethan, what you'll do is incorporate this and circulate it back to all of us again?
Yep.
Okay. Next item is the budget for FY 27. I'm not sure how much we can actually change in that. My sense has always been that it's a pretty pro forma action on our part. Am I mistaken about that?
Sorry,
Could
Judy, you're
you
breaking
understand
up.
that, Judy?
Are you, maybe your mic's not working.
Judy sent us a note the other day that indicating that the budget will be voted on at the March 9th town council meeting. So
It's today or March 2nd, right? We'd have to approve it. So I guess my question is, in looking at it, do we have line item detail behind that? And I was curious why we were reducing the budget by 5K given, I just wanted to understand what's going into that since the budget increase had been approved by town meeting. So that's one question. I guess my second question is sort of what happens to the filing fees? Because I know we're budgeting that, but we don't spend it. My understanding is it goes to a designated account to be used for enforcement related matters as needed to offset the costs of that. So I think now that we're looking at the budget, it would be a good opportunity to kind of see where what we have in the kitty.
well, the filing fees are in the budget as $4,500 of receipts, which reduced our ask from the town administration by the $4,500.
So if we get less, then the town funds more.
I think so.
But we only ever see a budget number. We've never seen the actual filing fees collected over the years. Like what is,
That's correct. I can't say that I've ever seen a reconciliation. Ethan, have you?
I don't recall. I believe those go towards like administering the act. So that would include like enforcement, like you said. Just any fees associated with doing your duty as a commission.
And it looks like the reduction in our budget from 26 to 27 is all in the personal services line.
yep, can you
Yes,
just,
that was from Rebecca's salary at the time, changing over when she had left.
When she left,
That's why it was decreased since then.
okay. So that's the reduction is essentially because you're less expensive than Rebecca.
Yep.
Okay.
And the filing fees also offset the salaries partially.
Right.
oh, I didn't,
Go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. I guess I'm asking about this because it came up in a recent hearing it's come up a few times at the DEP trainings about the filing fees needing to stay segregated in their own bank account. And how, that it's quite limited for how they could be used.
Good.
We just have to look at that a little more closely.
Yeah, where do we find that? Is that a statutory thing? Or is it DEP regs? Where do we need to look?
I think part of what they say is it goes to the commission administering the act, and that's like having staff allows you to do that. So that's why the fees offset the salaries.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think in the old days, some towns was like all volunteers and they didn't have an agent and you had to like use the filing fees to hire an agent. But I think we should get some clarification because, for example, something that someone could say at town meeting could be, oh, you have this new bylaw. What's in your what's in your wallet? Do you have the tools that you need to enforce this? And it's a lot easier, to be able to address that kind of upfront.
That might be more of a question for the town accountant, I think. If that's a
Yeah,
question
I
you
was
want to
going to
just.
recommend maybe Paul, hi, this is Erin. I was going to recommend it might make sense for Paul to reach out to the town accountant with some of the questions that you guys are bringing up today. I don't know if Ethan really has the answers to kind of the line items that you're looking for and things like that. I'm sure Liz would be more than happy to answer those questions for you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
How
In
do
the
we
past,
deal with getting those questions to the town accountant?
can you forward his email address?
Yeah, I'll give you her email address, Paul, and just reach out to
Okay.
her.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ethan, you can help facilitate that too, right, Ethan?
Yeah, I'll talk to her anyways. Yep.
Yeah. So if you have specific questions, maybe Ethan can connect you
Or
guys.
I'll just talk to her directly, and then if you have further questions, Paul, I'll let you know what she says.
Okay. Well, let's start with the ones that you've heard tonight.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks for the clarification, Erin. In the past, Jimmy would have me reach out as a newer member because I was the only one with finance experience.
Yeah. No, I think it's just an easy
Mhm.
question for Ethan to talk to her about and get you guys the answers.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay. So are we comfortable with the budget?
I mean, I don't know what I'm approving tonight.
It was in the package that
Yeah,
Ethan.
no. I mean, yes,
In the
that,
budget request,
yes, the budget request.
which is going to be voted on by town council on March 9th.
Okay.
If
It,
you want to make any,
it's,
if we want to make any changes, I think we will have to put them in here and resubmit it and see whether they get through.
well, I think the rationale, makes sense now, given, I mean, that makes sense. Rebecca was here 20 years. So that piece makes sense. I really, the only remaining issue is the filing fees. And then it's fine, like it's just magic, it's kind of
Well,
a,
in terms of whether they're put into a segregated account or not, that's not something that has to
that's
be
not
held
germane
in
to
the
the
budget.
budget. No, it's good for us to know though. So I would make a motion I'd be comfortable making a motion to approve the budget as presented, but ensure, mentioning in the minutes that we have questions about this. So
Oh,
with the caveat that we'll,
it's okay.
That we
I just
oh,
wanted to say before the motion gets made, I just
oh,
want to make
sorry.
sure that I understand that so the reduction in the budget request has to do with the salary difference. That's why there's a reduction.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
that's the only change is
Okay.
essentially the delta in salary between Rebecca and Ethan.
That sounds fine to me too. Eleanor's suggestion about, yeah, approving this and noting in the minutes the questions.
Okay, then I guess we'll need a motion to that effect from one of you.
Make a motion to approve the budget as presented, noting our question about the report out of actual filing fees submitted to the commission. And
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And yeah, if it doesn't go into the bank account or it's not accumulating, where does it go?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Ethan, yeah, I think it's probably going to fall to you to find out, to get us an answer as to how the filing fees are actually handled. Is there a segregated account? Be
How
helpful.
much is in it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do
I'll
we
follow up with you,
have a
Paul.
balance that continues to roll over, or does it essentially get spent every year on a portion of the agent's salary? Which would seem like a reasonable expectation, based on what you've heard, Eleanor, about purposes.
Yeah, I think we just need to double check that. So it's, sorry, where it goes, what it's used for, and
Those are the questions.
yeah.
Mhm.
And how much do we have?
Okay. In terms of the agenda, folks, we still have the draft wetland bylaw. We've dealt with the enforcement issues, so it's only the bylaw. We've got quite a large set of edits proposed from Bill Renault and Tom Mullen. In docs, we got the document today from Tom carries forward all the bills as well as Tom's suggestions. I think we need to get together separately from this to deal with them and confirm what we want to do. Ethan, you had indicated we need to get this done by when to get it on the warrant?
The warrant closes on, I believe, the 13th March, the Friday.
Friday, the 13th of March. Okay.
It's easy to remember.
Yeah. So I think we need to move forward pretty quickly to get this all taken care of. I'd suggest we try to find a time, either end of this week or I'd prefer the end of this week because I'm not going to be around much of next week. I'd have to do it remotely, but I could do it remotely. Take my laptop with me.
You're gone next week?
Yeah, we're going up to the Adirondacks Monday through Friday. We go cross country skiing with a bunch of old friends.
Oh, I would love to change positions with you instead of having two jobs. And not having had dinner yet at 10. Anyway,
that sucks. That's one good thing about having the time. I've actually cooked and ate beforehand.
and haven't been up since 5, but okay.
I suggest we
yes, let's just pick a date. I'll work with you. This is a really rough week for me, but so like end of week, and we have to do posting requirements. So the minimum days is 3 business days. I believe that's the Mayo rule, but open meeting law, it's 2 days. Judy, can you confirm? Or you can confirm, Ethan.
We usually have 72 hours, but I don't recall. I think that's right what you said, actually. Yeah.
Okay, because there's no, it's it's just our meeting, so it's not like a public hearing or things like that. So we have more latitude.
It would just be a meeting to continue working through. I'm guessing the public attendance said it might be about the same as it was for the last one.
Hmm.
So we couldn't do it before Friday.
No, I mean, I have a huge deadline. I have to hop on a call now, so I
Okay, do
am,
you want to do, are you available to do it on the weekend?
yes,
Okay,
that's even more ideal.
all right.
So,
You do something on Saturday if that makes sense to both of you. And if so, what time would you want to do it? I would suggest we allocate ourselves 90 minutes
yep,
through these and try to dispatch, either agree that we'll accept them, or if we don't accept them, toss them out and put in our own right away. I mean, I found generally the edits Bill proposed were, for the most part, helpful.
Mhm.
And Tom's were in the nature of cleaning up language for legal purposes
hmm
more than substantive. Bill's were more substantive from what I saw.
And these were on the, sorry, I haven't been able to check email all day. These
They,
were on,
they are actually in a copy of the doc that I think, Ethan, did you forward that to all of us?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you forwarded Tom's today.
Yes,
Or,
I must have got Tom's just today, and then
yeah,
Bill's was
and
later last week.
Bill's was last week, but Tom basically added his to Bill's. So I would
oh,
say,
that's helpful. Okay.
yeah, so take the copy that Ethan sent out today because it has both of them in it and
Okay.
work from that. And I'd
Okay.
suggest Saturday, perhaps do it in the morning.
Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking, so my daughter's in town,
Mm-hmm.
uh, from college. Is Sunday at all a possibility for you guys? Because,
Sunday afternoon.
yeah,
I'll have to check. I'll probably have to get back about a specific time, but depending on the time, I could do Saturday or Sunday, but
Sunday
I'll
the
have to
20th.
confirm the time.
Yeah, I could do something in the afternoon. So, Jennifer, why don't you let us know what time works for you?
Okay.
If Eleanor would prefer Sunday to Saturday, excuse me, then I would say let's aim for Sunday, and I'd suggest in the afternoon.
Um, did we get edits to both the bylaw and the regulations? I think I only saw the bylaw.
Bill suggested that we do it as one document, merge the two into one, and not have regulations that follow, because it will be very difficult to get approval at town meeting for that kind of situation. People are going to want to see everything all at once. And he raises a good point, I think, which is that we need to, transparency is an important consideration. And for us to say, trust us, we'll write regulations consistent with these bylaws, with this bylaw, is not necessarily going to sell. So I think the way Bill edited things was to merge the two into one thing. Take a look at it, see what you think of his suggestions. And if you think we need to do, the only thing additional that we would put in regulations probably would be fee schedules for filing fees, since there will be a separate schedule for filing fees that are only for matters which we consider separate and apart from DEP related submittals.
no, I guess I have not, I like all his comments generally. Again, I haven't seen this set, but I'm still struggling with the upside of doing two. I think we can't know that, which way to proceed because we haven't even shopped it,
Why don't you take a look at what's suggested
Okay.
and let's work through that this weekend.
Yeah.
We have 3 weeks
Right.
to finish. So we need to either conclude or plan for the fall town meeting. That's
Okay.
really our mission at this point.
Okay. So last thing, whenever you guys do your visit for like your enforcement visit that we talked about earlier, it's a good time to include Clyde Court because that was a project that was approved kind of before we all came on and issued. But I think it has implications. One, sort of as we're thinking about, implementing this wetlands bylaw, like these are two sets of properties and neighbors who didn't have mapped wetlands, and it's part
Mhm.
of the system. So it's a good time on your walk to, talk to the neighbors and who was impacted.
When are we doing that?
I don't know when. I am just putting whenever,
Okay.
Yeah, we
whenever
said we
that
would,
comes up to put it on your radar. That
yeah,
it's a
we
good,
said we'd put it on the agenda and then at our commission meeting, we could set a date for the site visit. So I think with Clyde Court, it would be good to maybe get it on that agenda before doing a site visit.
oh, but then that's going to be too late. Oh, well, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry. I'm sorry.
I think we aren't able to manage all these site visits and still be able to produce a bylaw
Yeah. Okay.
because the weather isn't permitting the site visits right now.
Good point.
So I suggest we keep moving on the bylaw and we'll try to deal with the lessons we're learning and manage that way.
Okay. There's no issues getting, we don't need Sherry, if we're looking at a weekend, we don't.
I think we still have to notice it.
Yep. And we can schedule it and all of that. Okay.
Right. But I think if we do it Sunday afternoon, you want to
That's
say
time.
2:00?
Well,
I'll have to
the
get back
later
to you
the
on a time. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
but Sunday afternoon, 2 or later probably would be ideal.
Mhm.
Okay. 2 to 3:30.
I'll have to check, but if I can do that, I'll.
Okay. Why don't you let us know and let Judy know because I think she'll probably have to reach out to get us get us noticed.
Are you guys planning on doing this via Zoom? Because all the
Yes.
buildings will be closed. Okay, so I just wanted to confirm that.
We all basically are using personal computers with it now, so we just do the same thing.
Thanks, Aaron.
We haven't met in person on this except for our first meeting. So why don't you get back to us all, Jennifer, with sounds like your schedule's the most constrained right now.
I can do Sunday afternoon. I just don't know if I can do earlier or later in the
Okay,
afternoon.
well, just let us know timing and we'll get a time on the schedule.
And I'll reconfirm my daughter's plans.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Um,
And I think we'll deal with it all then. In terms of agenda. I think we pretty much exhausted it. So our next meeting is Tuesday, March 3, accepting this bylaw meeting that we have coming up. So
Okay.
hope that we can make this one our last or second to last bylaw meeting. I prefer it to be last, but let's target that and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Oh, sorry. While we're talking about the bylaw, I did get an email from the Sustainability Committee, and they're interested in having us present, so we can talk about that too.
Okay.
All right.
I think we need to finish it first and then do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would agree. It would be helpful to be able to talk to them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and I keep getting bothered on the train by my planning board friend, so where we're at.
Well,
So
they'll see it when we're done with it.
yeah. All right. Jennifer,
Okay.
Paul, a pleasure.
All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. Thank you.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all. See you Sunday.
Great.
Good night.